All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Snyder. I'm the Senior Community Manager from Shopify. I'm based here in Los Angeles. I've spent about, the last 20 years or so in small business. I've owned about a dozen small businesses, spent a decade as a regional manager for Walgreens. And that was kind of a very different experience. I've owned a dozen small businesses on my own, both here in the States and internationally. The last 3 years I've spent with Shopify, helping small business owners really kind of grow and scale their businesses, and using my experiences, both good and not so good, to kind of help themselves learn from my mistakes, learn from my successes, and see what I can do to help. But today we're here to talk about kind of how to build a store. And I'm going to shut off my camera so I'm not distracting everyone with my bobbing around and everything. There we go. All right. At any time, if there's any questions, just feel free to pop in or throw it in the chats or whatever. And away we go. All right. So I call this building the store of your online store of your dreams. The question always comes up, why is this the online store of your dreams? And the truth is that if you're opening a restaurant or doing a brick and mortar or the website or any kind of business it is, in your mind, you have a vision of what that store is going to look like. Doesn't matter what, it's a boutique, it's a clothing store, it's selling pots and pans. You have an idea of what that business is going to look like. Our job, and I might say I mean anyone that's in the business of helping the small business community, right? Whether it's a chamber of commerce or an organization or agency or a marketing person or Shopify, anybody else, our job is to help bring forward that vision out of your mind and help make that a reality. That's our job. That's really our only job, and make that a success. And so this is about bringing that vision to life. Before we do that, before any vision comes out, before you sign a lease, before you do anything else, we always want to talk about brand essentials. And if you ever spend any time with me, ever spend any time talking about business, we're always going to kind of revisit branding. And it's going to be branding, branding, branding. It's really the foundation you build a business on. So we'll go through a little bit about branding. I want to be transparent about plans and costs, and we'll use Shopify as an example. I don't have a lot of data and information that's current on, Wix and BigCommerce and all these others, but by all means, certainly we'll talk about trial plans and all these kind of things. We'll talk about choosing a theme, that skin, and how your store kind of looks and feels and all that. And then we'll dive into actually building the store. We're going to approach this very much like cooking dinner, kind of like, you're going to make yourself a nice little dinner at home. You're going to start out by getting out the vegetables. You chop the onions, you chop the tomatoes, you chop up the garlic, you get everything ready on the cutting board. You get the pan out, you get the butter out, you get everything ready, and then you start cooking. You don't just get the pan on the stove and then you go look for an onion, right? So we're going to kind of approach it in that sense. The reason we do that is because ideally, well, it's a real world. Not everybody's going to have 8 hours a day to sit at home and just build a store. We have boyfriends and girlfriends and husbands and wives and kids and schools and businesses and jobs and all these other things going on. And, realistically, you're going to have other stuff happening, and you're going to want to actually probably do this around real life and around whatever else is going on. And I have found that this is a great way to do that. It's a great way to be able to stop and come back to it without really missing a beat. And you're able to see progress, which is always nice in terms of keeping yourself engaged and kind of excited and knowing that you're making progress. There's nothing worse than working on something over the course of a week and not seeing any forward progress, right? That's kind of a bummer. So we'll move through choosing a theme, and then we'll go to adding products, creating collection, adding pages, and creating a blog. In this portion, you're going to see wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. And it's by design, because if you can learn one skill here, you can do all these. It's exactly the same skill set. And it's by design, like I said. So you don't have to learn a different skill to do each of these things. And then at the end, we'll customize your theme, and then we're going to build the store live together, kind of put it all together. We're going to cook the dinner. And at the end of this, we'll have a fully functional store that is live and ready to go pretty much. So let's talk about branding. Boom, boom. There we go. 4 pillars of branding. It's really made up of these kind of 4 key things. These are the things that you're going to come across over and over again in business. Doesn't matter what kind of business, doesn't matter what your vertical is, doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't even really matter if you're a restaurant or brick and mortar or service industry. These 4 things are going to be something you're going to use almost every day, again and again and again. Unique selling proposition. And you put great photography and graphics, copywriting. I don't mean like patents or trademarks. I mean like the actual art of writing copy, and then a well-defined target audience. You'll be using these again and again across, Facebook ads. You'll use these again and again across menus and ads and store signage and when your website and all kinds of different things. So let's dive into them and touch. Unique selling proposition essentially is what makes your business different than your competition. And the easiest way to put it is what makes your brand or product or website or company different than your competitors. It's a very simplistic answer, but think of it this way: it is something that can be that you're going to lean into, and you're going to say, "This is what we're going to do better than anybody else. This is something we're going to do that's going to make us unique. This is something we're going to do that makes us different." Now, you're not saying that we're the only one doing this, because hey, there's lots of businesses out there, and it's tough to say we're the only person in the world doing this. But it is something you're going to say, we do this and we do this, and it makes us a little bit different. Now, it can be almost anything. It can be that you're a woman-owned business, indigenous-owned business, Latina-owned business. It can be your return policy, your selection of products. It can be the quality, the process. It can be that you're socially conscious. It can be, that you're environmentally friendly. It can be almost anything that you want it to be, but you have to be able to communicate that, and that's really the key. People have to know what's different about your business, and if they don't know, then it doesn't really do you any good to have a unique selling proposition. There's a lot of t-shirt stores in the world. Dropping onto a website that sells t-shirts, it's kind of like, well, so what? I mean, unless you have something that's really amazing about that t-shirt, there's really no reason to stay. But starting in 2019 and really, kind of hitting that peak last year about this time in 2020, people really began to care about where they buy from and who they shop from and who they're supporting and what kind of businesses they are giving their money to. They're becoming very conscious of that, and they're spending a little bit of extra time to figure out, what's behind this business. What do they stand for? What do they believe in? Who runs this business? Am I supporting a business that believes in causes that believe in, that is a gender I want to support, or an organization, a type of organization I want to support, things like that. The trick of the whole thing is that not only do you have to be able to communicate that, you have to be able to communicate it very, very quickly. So when someone lands on your website, you have to be able to communicate that very quickly, that we are a Latino-owned business based in Los Angeles, or whatever it may be. But there's actually one more step to that. So let's say you have a great website and you're selling handbags made with handcrafted Italian leather. Sounds nice, right? Awesome. But really, so what? I mean, that's nice and it's awesome. It's commendable that you chose to do that. But as a customer, why do I care? I mean, what benefit is there to me that you chose to use that leather, besides making it really expensive? Does it last longer? Does it age better? Does it have a higher resale value? Does it look nicer? Like, what's in it for me? Why should I invest in this expensive product that you chose to do? Um, where's the value to me? And so the other side of this unique selling proposition is really that value piece. It is what's different about our brand or product or company or whatever, and why should you care? How is that difference valuable to you, the customer? So if you're saying, we're a woman-owned business, that's great. Tell me why I should support a woman-owned business. Give me a piece of that, why I should care. If you're saying that our process is unique because we hand sort every bean by hand, cool. But why does that benefit me? Do I get a creamier cup of coffee? Is it smoother? Is it richer? Does it, save the planet somehow? Like, what is in this for me? Why should I care? People don't like to walk away from something that's valuable. So when you're thinking about your unique selling proposition, you want to think about why your brand is different and why that difference is valuable to the customer. What problem is it solving for them? How is it going to help them or help their life or make their life better? Or why should they really give a damn at all about it, frankly? If you can't show them that, then you might need to rethink kind of the position you're coming from. Because just being able to say, hey, we're different because we have a lot of products, that's nice and that's good. A lot of places have a lot of products, but really want to sell that. And you want to sell that very quickly, because when I land on a website like this, I have 3 to 4 seconds subconsciously to make a decision on, am I in the right place? Is this for me? Do I want to click around? What's here? Do I care about it? So if you can hit me in that first 3 or 4 seconds of what's unique about your brand and why should I care about it? How does it benefit me? The odds start to go up exponentially that I'm going to continue to click and continue to shop. It's not easy to do. Some brands think of this like a slogan, like M&M's, milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hands, right? Tells you right in there what's different about your brand and how that's valuable. Some tend to put down here just below that it's a bit of a little bit of a kind of mission statement down below the fold. And then like right in here, right at the top, mission to reimagine what's already exists through intentional design. They're telling you kind of right here what that unique selling proposition is. It's that social care kind of deal. As we move into product photography, you know, Instagram, for better or worse, has taught us to shop with our eyes. Amazon too. I mean, when's the last time you read an article on Instagram? It doesn't really happen anymore. There's two types of photography we use: product shots, lifestyle shots. Product shots are used primarily as a mental exercise. They're really cerebral. You're looking at the quality of the product, the material, the fabric, the stitching, the sewing. It's there to validate the purchase decision, justify the pricing. It's there to kind of check boxes like, yes, it's a good quality. Yes, I like the color. Yes, everything looks like it should look, all those kind of things. But it is just purely mental. There's really no emotional connection to it. When you get up into the lifestyle photography, that's where the mind starts getting involved. That's where you make that emotional and psychological connections. That's where you start thinking, yeah, that sure looks pretty good on that guy. Probably looks good on me too. I like the way that collar fits. And what you're doing when you say things like that is you're actually thinking of how that, when I say I like the way that collar fits, what you really mean is I like the way that collar would fit on me, even though we don't think about it in those terms and we don't say it in those terms. Women's magazines are classic for this. You think about picking up a Vogue magazine and you have that full page ad, and it's a black and white, and it's a woman on a balcony in Paris, Eiffel Tower in the background. She has a silk dress on. Everything's beautiful, champagne's flowing, the guy's in a tux. It says beautiful night in Paris. And all the way in the very back of the room, there's a dresser. And all the way in that little corner, there's a little tiny bottle of Chanel perfume. Well, they're not really selling you that Chanel perfume, are they? Because they could just put a big old bottle of Chanel and say, buy our Chanel. What they're selling you is that lifestyle. Buy our product and have this life. You can have a better life, just use this product. It's been used 1,000 times. It's older, like the Marlboro Man ads back in the day, where you had the guy in the cowboy outfit. It was really kind of buy this product and be this kind of uber masculine person. It works kind of similar here. Yeah, I mean, lifestyle photography helps with scale. It helps show fit and cut and things like that. But primarily what it does is it helps you envision a product in your life, or how your life could be if that product was being used in your life. I can be happy like him if I just have this shirt. I can look like her if I just have this handbag. Look at them at the beach having fun while chewing gum. I can have that life too. It's the way our mind works. Marketing psychology is a fascinating topic. If you're ever bored and ever want to read through it, you can Google it. There's tons of articles and blogs. It's really a fascinating read, but it all ties back into lifestyle photography. It really is there to help take your mind into a sense that if this product was in my life could be better or different, or I could have that life, or I could be doing something a little bit better. I would lose weight, run faster, have better hair, whatever it may be. Happens again and again. TV commercials, they don't show you people with the hair that they really have. They show people with hair that you want to have, right? Because that's the whole idea. If I just have that product, I can have hair like that. But we know it's not the real thing, right? We know that's not always reality. You're not going to buy the shampoo and suddenly you're going to develop these amazing curls and your hair will get 2 shades darker and 3 inches longer and all this volume. And that's not the way it works. But we just don't think that way. We look at it and go, oh, yeah, I'll get that shampoo and I'll have that great hair again. It's not how it works. Then we get into copywriting. This is the hardest part for me. It's equal part art and science. It is, by definition, it's the act of strategically writing text that persuades people to take some form of action. Click on this, shop now, buy this, tag a friend, do something. Use it all the time. product titles, product descriptions, promotional emails, Facebook ads, titles and meta descriptions. You use it constantly, especially on websites. But you use it in menus, you use it in billboards, you use it in flyers, you use it in, when you look at when you read the little copy on the registration page for this website, for this webinar, we used it. It's all the time, constantly, constantly, constantly. And essentially, what you want to do is figure out a way that your copy will resonate with your audience and kind of get them to kind of drink the Kool-Aid, take the bait in a sense. And this is a good example. Now, we can argue all day about a $345 hooded sweatshirt with a patch on it. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but it's a really good example of a very classic style of copywriting. A pullover fleece is a wardrobe classic. Everyone from artists to soccer moms has a go-to or three. We all agree with that. We all nod our head and go, yeah, yeah. Just like if I said we all love pizza, or we all love tacos, or we all love steak, and everyone goes, yeah, it's, but what's happening is what I'm saying is resonating with us. And when that happens, it not only does it kind of make us want to read more and want to kind of keep reading, but it's positive and it feels good and it kind of connects us psychologically with the website in a sense, or with the product, or with the page. If it had said something like our product is the best, buy it now, we'd have been like, yeah, whatever, I'm gone. We don't want to be sold to. But because it starts out with something that resonates with us, it's kind of like when you go fishing, you kind of you take the bait. Now all you gotta do is set the hook. So you keep reading through. And this is very much like fishing. If you're a fisher person, this is very much the same thing, right? It resonates with you. Take the bait. You move on through. Here we go. Gives you a little fact that's kind of interesting. Millions and millions of the same have been made. Millions have been disposed of, never sold. Huh, interesting. But then we get into the unique selling proposition. What's different about our product or our brand? And here we go. They tell you right there. And so it takes you on this little bit of a journey. But if you didn't start off with something positive that resonated with the audience, they would never get down to this part to understand why this product is different or unique. They would likely just bounce out. They just click away and say adios, see you later. All that being said, none of that would make any difference at all if we got the target audience wrong. If you have a website and it's an amazing website, you're selling women's jewelry, and you have the best photography, the best copy, the best website, everything is absolutely flawless, and you target me as a customer. I'm a 47-year-old guy. How often do I buy women's jewelry? Like Mother's Day, Christmas, Valentine's Day, not that often. So all that work you did is likely to kind of fall flat if you target me. So target audience is really, really, really crucial. In fact, your target audience will directly influence your photography, your copy. It'll directly influence your website design, your fonts, your colors. It'll affect the way you design your site. It'll affect everything about your website. Now, think about target audience for a second in our daily life. All day long, every day, everyone we talk to, we are constantly changing the way we speak to people based on who we perceive them to be. We speak to a pastor differently than we speak to our best friend. Naturally, we just do that all the time. We speak to a 10-year-old differently than we speak to a 30-year-old. We just do it automatically, right? It's very much the same thing with your website. It needs to resonate with your target audience. If you are targeting teens and they come to your website and it's a very formal kind of business tone, it's not going to feel authentic. It's not going to feel natural to them. If you're targeting seniors and your website's full of cursing and emojis and slang, it's probably not going to feel too good to them either. So it really is a matter of identifying who that target audience is and making sure your website is going to resonate with your target audience. If I land on a website and it's pink and kind of a cursive font, lots of little flowers, and there's some little girls playing with toys on that homepage, am I really going to click around to see if there's something there for me? Probably not. It doesn't feel right, doesn't look right. I'm just going to click out of there. Because remember, it's different than when you go to the Walgreens or the Target or the Walmart, where you got in your car, you drove 20 minutes, you circled the parking lot for 10 minutes, you found a parking spot, you walked in, you got your cart, you walked through the store, you got to the aisle, they didn't have what you wanted. So what did you do? Well, you probably kept walking around the store a little bit because you already spent all that time and energy getting there. Website's not like that. You get there, it doesn't feel right, you just click the X and you're gone. There's no time investment. It doesn't cost you anything. You didn't invest anything to get there. So if it doesn't feel right, people will just leave. They won't click around. They won't explore. They won't go, well, maybe there's something somewhere else in here for me. You got to get it right. And you only get about 3.5 to 4 seconds to get it right. This is a pretty solid example of a landing page. We call this above the fold. So anything above this kind of visible line. Very clear what they sell, very clear who their target audience is, right? They're obviously selling to medical professionals. They sell scrubs. Yeah, I get it. Copy is very clear. Mix and match blue hues, mix and match. Yep, I understand. And then very important, I know what I'm supposed to do next. Shop men, shop women. Yeah, very clear. I know what you do. I know why it's different. I know what I'm supposed to do next. Really easy for me to land to this page and move to the next step within just a couple seconds. I don't have to think too much because we're all kind of lazy as shoppers. We don't want to think too much. We don't have to analyze things. We don't have to do a bunch of research. I don't have to think a lot when I'm trying to figure out what pants to buy. I just want to buy some pants, make this nice and easy. So if your website and your branding and all these things are in place, your target audience and all these things are in place, you're kind of ready to move on. If you already have an existing business, then this is something you're going to want to revisit probably once a quarter, maybe once every 6 months, depending on the size and scale of your business. But it is something that's going to evolve over time. Your target audience will definitely evolve over time. The audience will get older, right? And people age, behaviors change, attitudes change, trends change, things change all the time. You need to constantly be keeping an eye on your target audience because it will evolve. Uh, it might evolve for the better. You might expand that target audience. It might get smaller. It might change and your demographic gets a little bit tighter. But you need to kind of know that, and you need to be able to flex your website, flex your photography, your copy. If certain terms become suddenly not okay anymore culturally, you got to get them off your website. If something that was okay 5 years ago now is not okay to use, you got to get it off your website. You can't have it hanging out on there just because it used to be okay. So you got to stay with the times. You got to stay current. Something to revisit from time to time. But if we have our branding in place, let's talk about a website. Let's talk about plans and e-commerce and all this kind of good stuff. So with a website, doesn't matter if it's Shopify, doesn't matter if it is Wix, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Small Commerce, Medium Commerce, any of these platforms, it's all pretty comparably priced. They're generally going to run between 25 and about 35 bucks a month, give or take. Some of them are kind of a la carte, where it might be 14 bucks a month for the platform, and then like $5 a month for Facebook, $5 a month for Instagram, $5 a month for this, $5 a month for that. Some are all inclusive. Shopify is kind of all inclusive, so but they're all wind up to be pretty damn close when you add everything in. They're all pretty close together, obviously by design. But whoever you talk to, doesn't matter if it's me, don't ever believe any person, myself included, who says Shopify is the best or Wix is the best or anything else, because no two businesses are the same and no two users are the same. Your skill set is different than mine. Your business is different than any business I've had. So for me to say that this is the absolute perfect one for you is just kind of a dumb thing to say, because how the hell could I know, really? The only real way to know is use these free trials. I think all the platforms have them. I know Shopify does. I think all the platforms have them. Use the free trial. I know with Shopify, and I'll drop the link. I'm sure it'll be included in the email, but drop the link and book one of these one-on-one sessions. So when you get that free trial, book a one-on-one session so you can go in there and have us kind of give you a little tour around, show you how it works. In particularly, show you how it would work in relation to your idea for a business. Because you can read a blog and you can kind of nose around, but if you have a very specific idea for a business, maybe it's a service business for a spa, maybe it's a drop shipping business for t-shirts, maybe it's print on demand, or you're knitting socks at home, whatever that may be, it's going to be different, it's going to be unique, and there may be things that are really specific that you should know in advance. So you take advantage of that stuff. It's free, so you might as well take advantage of them all. In terms of cost and plans and all these things, the one thing that's never really mentioned is you need a domain, and that's going to be the same on any platform, anything else. that's going to be about 14 bucks a year. Doesn't matter if you buy it from GoDaddy, from Google, from Shopify, whoever you buy it from, it's going to be like $14 a year for that sexy.com. Get that as soon as you can. That will help your SEO. That's something you own. And once you have it, you can point it anywhere you want. Point to the Shopify, point to the Wix, point it to, your blog, point to anywhere you want to. But that's something you should secure sooner than later. Once that's done, or whenever you have that, then you start thinking about all this kind of stuff in here. People ask, what's the difference with all these plans? The honest answer is nothing. I mean, there's something, but in terms of the actual functionality that would matter to you, the user, not really anything. It's the same functionality. It's just at scale. What I mean is the basic Shopify here, 29 bucks. This is where probably everyone's going to start and land. First of all, there's no contract. So you can change plans anytime. You can move between them. It's just a mouse click to kind of move around. No problem there. But you're probably going to start at 29 bucks a month. This is that solopreneur plan. So this is, you have your owner account and you have 2 staff accounts. You have a point of sale. So maybe you're using a phone with a card reader at a pop-up or something like that, a church kind of a craft fair, holiday market or something like that. You're selling online, you're selling on Instagram, selling on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. That's what this kind of plan is about. But let's say you get a brick and mortar and now you have 5 employees and a cash register with a barcode scanner and, things are a little bit bigger, right? So now you're going to be up in here because you have more employees, because you have more equipment and all those kinds of things. Let's say you have things are really good. Now you have 3 brick and mortars and a warehouse, and you have maybe 10, 12, 15 employees. Now you're going to be up in here. It's the same functionality across the board. It's just at scale. A great example of it is right here where it says staff accounts, where it says 2, 5, 15. That gives you a perfect example of what these plans really do. The core functionality is the same. I mean, the Kylie Jenner plan, they have the same basic functionality that you have at 29 bucks a month. It's just they have more of it because they have more employees and more cash registers and more warehouse locations and more need for bigger things. So for example, here, if it's just me and 2 people helping me out, I don't need as in-depth analytical reporting because I don't have as much stuff to report on. Versus up here, when I have 3 locations and warehouses and 15 employees and multiple cash registers, I need a little more in-depth reporting because I have a lot more stuff to dig through. That's essentially the difference between the plans. I would encourage everyone to start out at 29 bucks a month. Resist the temptation to say, well, I want to go for the deeper reporting right off the bat, or you can move anytime. If you find that there's something here you need, you can change. If you have 2 employees and you add a 3rd and you want to change plans, you can just go in and click the mouse. No problem. Easy peasy. But 29 bucks a month will give you everything you need in terms of all the staff accounts, all the unlimited products. So it's not like some of their platforms. There's no product cap to it. There's no sales cap to it. You can sell $1 million a day on 29 bucks a month. And if you do, great for you. You can do unlimited products. So you can have 1,000 products or 1 million products, whatever you want. You can have 2 employees and yourself. You have all the sales channels, so you can sell on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Walmart.com, Amazon, Etsy, TikTok, you name it. All those things are all linked together. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Diners Club, Discover, Venmo, PayPal, Amazon Pay, Google Pay, all those kinds of things. Shipping is all integrated. That's all built in. So you don't have to, it's not like you're missing out on something down here. It's just the scale is the only real difference. The other thing to consider when you're looking at a platform is this part right here, the support. Make sure they have the support option that's right for you. I don't know about the others, so I won't speak to them really. Shopify is 24/7 support, email, phone, and chats. And then if you're in LA or New York, for example, we have in-person one-on-ones. So you can come sit down with us in person. There's also virtual one-on-ones. I think I just dropped a link in the chats here. It'll come out in the email maybe. But you can also schedule a virtual one-on-one like on a Zoom call, or we can sit down on a Zoom call and answer questions that way. And those are available kind of like 9 to 5, Monday through Friday kind of a thing. So make sure they have the type of support that works for you. Because at 2 o'clock in the morning, if you want to upload a picture and you're getting an error and you have a big promotion happening the next day, what are you going to do if suddenly they're like, well, our support's closed till Monday? Like, your business isn't closed. That's not good. Or if they only have email support and unfortunately, it takes them 3 days to get back to you. Or you're a Spanish speaker and they don't have Spanish support. So make sure they have the support that's right for you, whatever you prefer. Make sure it's right for you. Super important. Maybe the most important part about all this, because honestly, the technology is kind of similar. I mean, you're going to be able to sell something on all of these, but when you have a problem, who's going to be there to help you? That's always the big part. All right. Boom, boom. So once you have your trial launched, once you've picked your platform, you're going to get a thing kind of looks like this. And these are kind of the same across all the platforms, but with Shopify specifically, we call this the admin. Up here, you're going to have your kind of personal information. This is where you would click to change your passwords, your logins, your account information, all that. It'll have a little profile picture of you. Over here, this is actually called the admin, which is kind of like the nerve center of your business. These home cards here in the middle are kind of cool. So these will give you updates in real time. You might see something like your 10% of stores that have launched the same time of you in the same industry of you have found these two apps to be useful. It could give you little tips based on other businesses that are doing kind of some similar things. It might show you a blog article that is relevant to your industry. It could show you, like here, maybe a next step to take in terms of building a store. Or maybe here, hey, you need to fulfill some items. So, it's going to give you, it's kind of next steps just to kind of keep you almost like a checklist. And then down here, we have sales channels. So your admin is where you're going to work every day. This is something you will use every day to manage your business. There's a ton of moving parts in a business. It doesn't matter if you're a giant corporation or a small mom and pop, a single person, brick and mortar, it doesn't really matter. There's lots and lots of moving parts. In here, you'll be able to manage all of your orders. You can do all your shipping. So when you go into orders, fulfill the order, you're going to be able to print out your shipping label and stick it right on the box. You don't have to go to the post office and weigh everything out and wait in all that line and stuff. Manage all your products, all of your collections, all of your gift cards, all of your customer data. So it's like a CRM in a sense. All of your customers are going to be in here. You'll be able to look at their profile, their history, what they ordered from you, how much they spent, how they paid, when they ordered, all that good stuff. A full set of analytics. So you'll be able to see when people order, how often they order, how much traffic to your site, where it's coming from, what time of day it comes from, what your bounce rates are, abandoned carts, all that kind of really good, insightful data. There's a marketing integration. So what this does, it allows you to do Facebook ads, email marketing, SMS marketing, Google ads, things like that, right from in here. So you don't have to leave Shopify to run a Facebook ad. You don't have to actually go to Facebook and then come back and then go to Google and then come back and go to your email marketing and come back. You can do everything in one place. Saves you a lot of time. The other nice part is if you open it up, it gives you this kind of nice little dashboard where you'll be able to see all your ads in one place. So you'll be able to see Facebook ad running and the results, Google ad running and the results, email marketing ad running and the results. You'll be able to see everything on one little kind of dashboard at a quick glance. Discounts, buy one, get one free, 30% off everything in the store, create discount codes, whatever you want to do, all built in, nice and tidy. And then apps. And the App Store is one of the things that makes Shopify really kind of cool. It's kind of like your iPhone. When you got it, it was nice and shiny. It worked great. You could text each other, call each other. It was all nice and great. But, if you wanted Snapchat or TikTok, you had to download the app. If you wanted the game, you had to download the app. It's kind of the same thing. Shopify works out of the box. A lot of people use it right out of the box with no apps. But apps are there to help personalize and customize your store as well as expand the functionality of it. So if you want your Instagram feed to be streaming across the bottom of your store, that's just a free app you add. If you want the Amazon style, like 5-star product reviews to your store, it's just a free app you add. Some of the apps are free, some of them are paid. It depends on what you want. There's last thing I saw like 6,000 apps in the App Store or something wild. I think they approve like 230 apps a month. It's pretty crazy, but they're all vetted. There's reviews in the App Store. There's like a 5-star rating system. There's reviews. There's the number of installs. There's all that information. in there, so you can kind of pick and choose. There's also free trials on the apps, but it's just a way for you to expand the functionality of your store, to customize it, to make it a little more unique to you, and a little more right for your customers, right for your target audience. And then as we get down into sales channels, this is where we get into what's called omni-channel selling. And this is one of the biggest things that's come in the last, really 2 years. It's blown up. It's been around for a little bit longer, but in the last 2 years, it's blown up, and it's really the norm now. And I think moving forward, it's just the way things are. It's just kind of the status quo. But omni-channel selling is essentially, it's like a wagon wheel. And in the center of that wagon wheel is your admin right here. And the spokes going out from that wagon wheel are all these different sales channels. There's a couple of them listed here, but online store, point of sale, which could be a brick and mortar, it could be a card reader, a pop-up, a buy button, which is a button like this that's installed on like a blog or a third-party website, a wholesale, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Walmart.com, Amazon.com, Etsy, anywhere that you're selling, anywhere that customers can engage with you, anywhere that you can engage with your customers. And the idea is that, let's say like 2020 happens again, and your one sales channel was your front door, and you have to close that front door. Well, not so good. But if you're selling on Facebook, and you're selling on Instagram, and you're selling on Etsy, and you're selling on Pinterest, and you're selling at pop-ups, and you are selling via wholesale, and you're selling through an online store, and you lose one of your sales channels, all hope is not lost, especially if you are set up with what's called omni-channel, like that wagon wheel, because all this data from all these sales channels are flowing into your store here, into your customer tab. So it doesn't matter if someone buys from you at a pop-up, buys from you in a brick and mortar, buys from you on Facebook, buys from you on Etsy, the sale all goes into your store. It all goes into the same bank account. It all goes into the same set of books, so that you have that information. One of the hardest parts of 2020 for me was the first 6 months, when customers came to me and said, I have this great brick and mortar. We're doing about $1 million a month in sales. But now I had to close my doors. I have a Facebook page and I have a website, but I've not really used either of them. How do I get my in-person customers online? Well, do you have email addresses? No. Okay. Do you do you have any way to communicate with your in-person customers? No. Okay. There's not really a way to do that. I mean, it's not like you flip a switch and someone just starts buying online tomorrow, unless you have it set up omni-channel. Because then it doesn't matter where they buy, you have that data. It's easy enough to send all of your customers, no matter where they bought from you at, an email saying, hey, the in-person store is closed because of COVID, but now you can buy online, or now you can shop on Facebook, or now you can shop on our Pinterest account or anywhere else. You don't really miss a beat in that sense. You just transition them from buying in person to buying online. And you know what? I won't say most, but a lot of statistics show that many shoppers spent more money online than they did in person, because it was easier, it was more convenient. They saw more things. They shopped more, if that makes sense. So they browsed longer and all those kinds of things. In that sense, that average customer value went up versus when they were just coming to the store to buy that one specific thing. So there was a benefit to it. And that's going to continue. That's continuing now. We're kind of in that reopening time. Things are a little wonky, right? No one's quite sure what's happening. Are people going to rush back into brick and mortars? I don't think so. Behaviors have changed. And this is something that's kind of important to start thinking about as you are thinking about opening a business online. Behaviors have changed. These weren't temporary habits where, hey, COVID was a month long and temporarily we were inconvenienced and temporarily we changed the way we did things and we all went back to normal. It's been like 18 months. I still get groceries delivered to my house because that's what I've done for a year and a half. And, that's just what's been happening. People are going to continue to do what they've been getting used to doing to a large extent. Yeah, some of that will bounce back. People are going to want to go back to some stores to some point, but people have gotten used to buying shoes from shoe stores online, and buying makeup from makeup stores online, and buying things from specialty stores. And it's going to be a different world in the next 6 months. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's not like suddenly e-commerce is going to die, brick and mortars are going to blow up, and suddenly it's going to go back to 2018. That's just not likely to happen again. Too many things have changed and too many behaviors have changed. Omnichannel is the future. It's here. It's been here. We have enough data to really understand how it's working, what successes are, what metrics are there. And it's really something that any business that's building now, any business that's thriving now is really leaning into. All right. So choosing a theme. This is where it starts to get a little bit fun, right? This is where we're starting to kind of dice our onions and all these kinds of things. The theme essentially is the skin of your store. It's that vibe and tone of your store. It's not the functionality of your store. I mean, your functionality is set by Shopify, right? That's, you're going to sell stuff on your store and engage and all that. The theme is really kind of how it flows and looks and feels and all of that. Now, I'll get into the free and paid thing in a second, but one thing to keep in mind, all these themes are going to be responsive, meaning they're all going to look good on a widescreen or a mobile phone or whatever. Don't get hung up on the colors because you can change them. Don't get hung up on the fonts. You can change them. Don't get hung up on the layout, which sounds kind of weird because you can change them. You can do anything you want to. You want this big picture on the bottom, this little round picture up top? Yep, no problem. It's drag and drop. You want this video on the bottom and this little square thing on the top? Yep, no problem. You don't need any coding. You simply just drag that down and it goes down. It really is that easy. So what's the difference between these different themes? Well, there's a few differences. I'll get into that in just a second. So there are two types of themes. There's paid themes and free themes. The biggest difference between them are that free themes are made by Shopify, supported by Shopify. If they break, we fix them. Paid themes are by a third party. They're vetted by us, but they are created by a third party and supported by a third party developer. So they might work a little different. They might feel a little different, but generally they're going to kind of have the same functionality. Now, with paid themes, part of the reason they're paid is that they may have some additional bells and whistles built in. They may not. Some do, some don't. So it really kind of depends on what you're looking for. Some of them have, for example, that Instagram stream that I mentioned earlier. Some of them might have that built in, so it saves you a free app integration. Big deal? Maybe not, but it saves you an app integration. So, it really depends. Now, I mentioned earlier that you can change almost anything in these themes. There's really only one thing you can't change. And this is kind of a pro tip that most people don't realize. The one thing you can't change is the menu. So if you see here, this menu is embedded in the picture. And you see over here, this menu is kind of in this header. And down here, the menu's on the side. And over here, the menu's, again, down in this lower header. It's really, really, really difficult to change your menu location in a theme. It's kind of like changing all the load-bearing walls in your house at the same time. It's not something you'd recommend doing. It's definitely not something you could do on your own. It was something you'd have to hire someone to do. It would require redoing the coding in the theme. It could, in theory, be done. It's just not something I would ever recommend doing. You'd be better off just choosing a different theme with the menu and the location that you want. So if you're picking a theme, I would definitely consider where that menu location is first and foremost before you look at anything else. In terms of over here, sorting the different types, it's there for reference. A large catalog store can be used for one item, sure. A small catalog store can be used for a lot of items. Yeah, sure, of course. Some are going to have video functionality built into the homepage. Some you're going to have to add it manually. So they will have some different features like that in place. But generally speaking, they're all going to do the same thing. They're all going to kind of have a similar feature. For example, this theme here, narrative, has this big built-in kind of hero image with the menu built in. Debut, which is actually kind of our beta theme. So debut is the theme that comes built into every store automatically. It's the first theme that gets updated. It's the first theme that gets any kind of tests or new features. It's like kind of the one that gets all the cool stuff right away. This one doesn't have the thing built in, and it's a smaller picture. So little details like that are really some of the differences between themes. When you pick a theme, it's going to give you open it up. This is a paid theme. It's going to give you it's going to show you a mobile view. It's going to show you the desktop view. It's going to give you a chance to try the theme, but more importantly, it's going to give you a chance to view a demo. This will take you to a live store that's currently using that theme so that you can shop in it, play around with it, click in it, do anything you want to see how that theme actually works in real life as a customer. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. You can have 20 of these themes in your store, meaning you can have debut up and running and all your customers are shopping on debut, and you could have 19 others completely done down below with different kind of looks and feels. So maybe you have a Christmas theme and a Valentine's Day theme and a summer theme, winter theme, fall theme, spring theme, all done, ready to go, that you can switch between anytime you want to, that changes the look and feel and vibe of your store anytime you want to. People don't use that enough, but it's a really cool feature. It's really underutilized. So is the view demo. So before you choose a theme, check it out. Make sure it looks and feels right to you before you get too far into it. Before you start building on something that you don't like, see how it works from the customer. Always look at things as the customer sees it. Remember, it doesn't really matter what we think, it really matters what the customer thinks. I see a lot of businesses that will say, I was going to launch my store this week, but I got to hire someone to move this logo over 7 pixels. No customer has ever gone to a site and not made a purchase because the logo is 7 pixels to the right too far. It's just not a thing. So sometimes our own aesthetic or our own wants can get in the way. But look at things through the customer's eyes. All right, time to start shopping and cooking. Add some content. You're going to see this same process over and over again. And this part will go very, very quickly because it's really the same skill set. We're going to add products. We're going to add collections. We're going to add blogs. We're going to add pages. And these happen very, very quickly because it's literally the same thing again and again and again. When I came to Shopify, I didn't have a tech background at all. I have a business background. Great with analytics, great with reports, great with management, not so good at tech. It was not my thing. In fact, I'd never used a Mac before when I joined Shopify, and I didn't know how to even close a window. I spent the first day trying to figure out, why is there not an X on the right-hand upper corner to close windows? I don't understand. It took me forever to figure it out. And if I can learn this, I'm pretty confident that anyone else can learn this, because it was super easy once I realized it's the same thing over and over again. And when I asked, why do we do this? And that was their answer. Well, it's just less steps for anyone to learn. We want people to be able to do this on their own successfully. So cool. So we're going to go to products and then add products. Seems easy enough. And here we are at kind of the Shopify stock template. Now, I'll qualify this first by saying, if you don't like this template, or if you want to move beyond this template, there are some great apps that will allow you to customize your own template and make something completely custom, completely unique. We can do almost anything you want to with these apps. Call them page builders. You can do anything you want to. But with this template, you're going to see this over and over and over again. No coding required. It's just fill in the blank. So here we go. Adding a product title, easy enough, right? Short sleeve t-shirt. Product description, all the usual suspects appear. Change the font, add in hyperlinks, italics, underscore, bullet points, all those kinds of cool things. One thing that is unique is over here, you can manage the product availability, which is kind of a cool feature. So if you're doing a pop-up and you're selling a necklace, and that necklace is only available at the pop-up because maybe you only have 2 of them, you can choose where things are available to be sold. So maybe it's not available online, only available at the pop-up. Or maybe it's only available online, not available at the point of sale. It lets you kind of choose where things are available. Down here in images, no different than uploading an image from Facebook, from your phone or from your computer. You can upload a video, upload a picture, upload a GIF, upload a 3D image. If you want to get into like augmented reality, that kind of a thing, you just click on there and upload it from your device. Super, super, super easy. Price, and then to compare it price, that's like that whole, we charge $20, competition charges $25. It'll draw a red line through it. That's there if you want to use it. And then this is for your own reference. It'll only display it to you, but your cost per item, so that you can keep track of your own costs. And then if you want to charge taxes on the item, depending on if you're selling wholesale or type of item you're selling. SKUs and barcodes, if you need them, if you're doing a barcode scanner or anything like that. And then if you have this set to Shopify tracks, then we will track your inventory for you. So if you have 12 items and you sell one, it'll automatically change it to 11. Doesn't matter where you sell it. Doesn't matter if you sell one at a pop-up, one online, one on Facebook. Doesn't matter, because it all flows through your online store. So it's super easy. Even if they all sell simultaneously at the same time, it's going to automatically track that for you. So it's really, really difficult to get in a situation where you oversell things as long as you have this set up properly. And then down here towards the bottom, if it's a physical product, check the box, input the weight, and then Shopify fulfillment, it'll automatically link up the shipping for you. We'll get to that here at the end, but shipping is built in. UPS, USPS, or DHL, you'll be able to set up your shipping and it'll print out a sticker. You stick it on the box and off it goes. Super, super easy. You get about a 60% discount on shipping rates, give or take. Changes a bit depending on the carrier and the sizes and all that kind of stuff. But you get a pretty steep discount on shipping rates. Shipping is really expensive, so whatever discount you can get is definitely an advantage. And then variants, if you're selling t-shirts, it's that red, blue, green, women's, men's, extra large, large, medium, small, that kind of thing. And then down here at the bottom is for SEO. That's that search engine preview. That's what Google will show people in a search engine result. So when someone would Google your store or the product, that's what's going to be displayed. All right, so this template, once we master using this, we're going to see it again and again. That's how you create a product. Now, when you go to Target or go to Walmart and you walk in a store, you don't see baby formula next to TVs, next to diapers, next to car parts, next to toys. Everything's in a department. We call them collections, pretty much the same thing. So set up collections, collection, create collection, right? Same as products, nice and easy. And it's the same form, it's the same template. It's going to be wash, rinse, repeat over and over and over again. Title of collection, yep. Description of collection, yep, same as before. Where is the collection available to be sold? Yep, same as before. The one thing that's unique is this part down here. And this is the type of collection. There's two types of collections. There's a manual and automated. Most people choose automated. A manual collection is something you're going to manually move things into a collection. So if it's a women's dress, you might move it into the women's collection manually, or the dress collection manually, or both. With automated, you're able to set up conditions and it would automatically move them into those collections for you. So when I add women's dress, maybe I have product title is equal to dress, product title is equal to women's, and it automatically puts it into the women's collection for me, automatically puts it into the dress collection for me, so that I don't have to, mess around with moving things around in collections. Makes it that much easier. Other than that, SEO, exactly the same template as before. I have a little video here on creating a collection. So in this case, we're going to do a collection of gift ideas under 30 bucks. We're not going to make it available on point of sale, buy button, or eBay. It's an automated collection. We're going to add a thumbnail, just so we have a thumbnail. When you look here, all these different conditions we can set, we're going to do price. So everything in my store less than $30 is going to automatically go to that collection. I don't have to move anything. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to create anything automatically. And if I add something new for $29.99, it's going to automatically go to that collection. Easy peasy. And it'll stay that way forever unless I delete the collection. Super, super simple. Pages. Again, just like products, just like collections, pages, add page, right? And a page is going to be like our FAQs, our shipping policy, our about us page, all those kinds of things that tell people about us. Remember the conversation about unique selling proposition? We got to tell people what we're doing and why we're different, who we are, and all those kinds of things. This is our chance to do that. Here's the same template. It's a little abbreviated because we don't need shipping and all these things on this page. Page details, so the product, the page title, and the content of the page. Unique thing here, you can actually set a publish time. So if you're going to work on it for a while, or maybe you're adding a new partner and you want to announce it as add them to your page, you can set a future date or whatever you want to do. But other than that, it's exactly the same template to use. This is Pipcorn. This is an example of a about us page that was created just from that template. Nothing fancy, nothing custom, no coding, no apps, no fancy tools. Just really, really simple and straight ahead. People sleep on that About Us page. I don't know why. It's really your chance to kind of sell yourself and your business and tell everybody, what you're all about. It's really your chance to kind of lean into who I am, what I hope to do, what I hope to accomplish, and all that good stuff. Really, really important. It's actually your About Us page statistically is the third most visited link on your entire website. Blogs. Blogs get a bad rap because everyone thinks, I got to write 5,000 words about blogs. Uh, Nobody who if I go to a business I've never seen before, I've never heard of before, I just happen to stumble across them on Instagram or Google search. Am I going to read 5,000 words about a business I've never heard of, about a product I've never seen, or about an owner I've never even met or know nothing about? Probably not. There's no context. So I don't want to read that much about them. Blogs don't have to be long. They don't have to be, these huge essays. They can be short and sweet and simple. They can be top 3 lists. They can be part of your About Us page. They can be anything. But the thing is to be consistent about doing them. So here we go again, blogs and then add blog. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that there's blogs and blog posts. Now I'm kind of old, so I remember newspapers and all that kind of stuff, print media. Blogs are like the LA Times or like Time Magazine. And then the articles inside there are the posts. That's something people have to keep in mind. There's blogs and then the posts inside, just like there's a newspaper and the articles within the newspaper. So add blog post because we created a blog, right? Create a blog and then create the post within the blog. And here we go again. Exactly the same template. So if we can create a product, we can create a blog because it's exactly the same template. Same thing as the About Us page, right? Visible, hidden, create in the future. This one has a picture and this one has an excerpt. You can cut and paste down there. So it has a little bit of an excerpt. Other than that, it's exactly the same. Now, of course, there's a different style of writing and there's some different strategy and there's different, different way of writing a blog than a product page. That's different copywriting. But the actual physical skill set to do this in terms of tech is exactly the same. And this is what it's going to look like. So if you've written 3 blogs and you've written 3 blog posts and you have your blog, it's going to automatically create this for you. It's going to link them all together and create it for you. Nice and easy, easy peasy. That's what the thumbnail does. That's what the excerpt does. It makes it for you. You don't have to be an editor or do anything magical with it. All right. So we have our products, we have our content, we have all this stuff, but we don't have a way for anyone to find them because they're not linked to anything, right? We've chopped all of our onions, we've done all this stuff, but nothing's really connected to anything at this point. It's just all kind of sitting in that back end of our store. So when you think about menus, there's really 2 menus in your store. There's the one up top and the one at the very bottom that, most people don't go to unless they're looking for like the return policy. The one at the bottom is called the footer menu. The one at the top, generally referred to as the main menu. You can retitle those, you can do what you want, but generally speaking, they're called the footer and the main. When you click into these, navigation, click into main menu, we're going to title this whatever we want this to show visibly to the customer. So this is something important to keep in mind. Whatever we put here will be visible to the customer. So if you use all caps, it's going to be all caps on your homepage. If you use lowercase, it's going to be all lowercase to your homepage. This should also be in line with the same tone and voice that you use throughout the rest of your copy. So if your copy is very tongue-in-cheek and edgy, and that's kind of the voice you've used throughout your website and throughout your copy, maybe you don't want to say about us. Maybe you want to say who the hell am I, right? You want it to be kind of a same representation of your brand across your menu as it would be on your Facebook page or Instagram page or your email or anything else. FAQs, it might be, this is the stuff people ask. Play with it a little bit, keep it interesting, just make sure people can understand what it is. Don't make it too obscure that people can't figure out what things are. Got a little video here. All right, cool. So we click on main menu, add a menu item, title it whatever we want to display, our story, about us, whatever. Link it to the page we've already created. We just created an our story page, right? Add, boom. Cool. Add another menu item. FAQ, right? Page, right? We just created all of our pages, right? Cool. add, boom. Let me stop right here for a second. One pro tip, if you grab these 6 dots, anytime you see these 6 dots, that means you can drag and drop and move things around. If you grab these 6 dots and would drag this underneath that S for our story, it would give you a drop-down menu. So then you'd have that nice little drop-down. If you need to kind of keep consolidate the top of your menu bar to kind of keep things nice and tidy, you can do that. Shipping policies. Fair and easy to find policies are not only crucial for customers, they help build trust, they help build conversions, but they also help with SEO and with Google and all those things as well. In fact, you're likely to get rejected from Facebook or Google if you don't have clear policies. Menu save. Don't be like Chris. Make sure you save your menus. I don't save things. I forget it all the time. All right. Boom. So we have all this stuff kind of built in place, right? We've got kind of recap through here real quick. We have our brand, so we know what we're going to say and who we're going to say it to. Now, if I was going through this and I was kind of doing this and we're going to do this together, I would probably have a Google Doc with some copy in place. Right? I would probably have ideas kind of sketched out and written on a Google Doc of what I want to say in terms of maybe some things for my homepage, all things like that. We have our product pages built. We have our collections built. We have our content built. So we have our blogs built, our About Us pages built, our FAQs built. All that stuff is done. We've linked them all to our menu. So our menus are done and good to go. So right now, what a customer would see, well, what we would see if we went to their store would be this. We would just see this kind of gray looking thing right here. So we got to build out our theme, right? The back end is all good. We're functional. We just don't have a theme that really looks nice. By the way, you see down here where it says debut, this is where we would have, if we had 20 other themes, they would be listed down here. And we could go to actions and publish them. Super, super easy. So we go to themes and customize. And now we're getting ready to cook. Each of these blocks, we call these sections. And these sections are part of your theme. And again, you have the 6 dots so you can rearrange things. But each of these blocks are called sections. Each one of these sections represents a section over here. So image with text overlay, image with text overlay. Super, super easy. Up at the top, we can choose to look at this in a mobile view, widescreen, a desktop view, or a widescreen view. We can change our view. Anything we do is going to display in real time. Whatever page we're working on, we can change the drop down right here. So if we want to work on a product page, we want to work on a collection page, in this case, working on a home page, sections. Theme editor, I'm sorry, the theme settings, which I think in the newest updates are now down here at the bottom. This is going to let us work on our colors, our fonts, which is like a fancy Canadian, typography is like a fancy Canadian word for fonts. Social media, so we link our Facebook page and stuff to our icons. A favicon, which is that little thing next to the tabs at the top of your page. So when you look at the tabs, like in Chrome, you get the little picture next to the title of what's in the tab. That's what that is. And then there's a couple things in the checkout we can change. Not a lot. There's a few things there. But these are where you would change these things. Now, let's do some cooking here. Let's build a store with all the parts we've done. All right. Here we go. So header. If you watch in real time, it's going to change. So I'm going to select image. Boom. Our logo. Now something here. You see it updating here, including my typo. And the truth is, if we have a brand in place, so if we know our branding, right, that branding conversation, and we were going to sit down and build a website, we could build this in a day. We could have this done by dinner tonight. You and I could do a website. I mean, it'd be super simple. So don't, get all crazy, but we could build a super simple website in just a few hours, provided we know what we're trying to do. So we just clicked on the next section. And again, here I would probably have this in a Google Doc. It's cut and pasted over. Unique selling proposition. Every product we make is handcrafted in California. You have some features you can change, section height, text size, things like that. Want to add a button down there? Because remember that scrubs kind of homepage? What am I supposed to do? But that color doesn't match. Colors, buttons, boom. No coding, no anything. Just takes a little bit of organization. Next section, feature collection. Okay. We already made our collections earlier, so they're done. This is kind of why I like doing it in this way. You could go through and build a collection one at a time at this point, but if they're already done, as soon as you click on that button, they populate for you. Easy peasy. Image with text, add the picture. You can see here, you could align it to the left. So you can move the image to the right or the left. It's up to you. There we go again. Unique selling proposition, just driving that home over and over again. Next section, slideshow. Don't want that. We're going to hide that. Get rid of that. There's a footer. Want to add a section because we created blogs, right? So we want to add blogs. Boom. We had them done already, so it just populated them for us. If you have a chance, if you have the opportunity, please don't show dates on your blogs. Nobody wants to read a blog that's 5 years old. If you don't put dates on a blog and you have a bad month and you miss a blog, nobody's going to know really. A lot of people to your site are new. And that quickly, that was what, 3 minutes or so? We just assembled a homepage. Now this website right here is 100% functional. Yeah, 90% functional. We still have 2 things to do still. This is what a customer would see if they landed on this website right now. They could click on shop now. It would take them to a product, they would be good to go. That's simple. Menus are up here. Menus are linked, right? We created our story, FAQs, contact pages. We have a logo. It's super simple. It's super basic. Yeah, I get it, but it's completely functional. A couple things we still have to take care of. A couple little bells and whistles, T is the cross, I is the dot. One, we bought that domain earlier. We got to make sure we connect that domain. You could buy a new one. You can connect your existing domain, up to you. You go to domains. If you buy a new one, it's kind of fun. If you've never done it before, to go in there and just put in your own name and see if your name is available. Like, it's kind of fun to go on like chrissnyder.com and see if that's available. It's, I don't know, kind of enjoy that stuff. But it's there. Site preferences, really important. These are my 2 biggest asks, Google Analytics and the title meta description. If someone Googles your website and you don't have this filled out, Google will just put in something from somewhere on your website, whatever it thinks is appropriate. It could be anything. It could be something from your About Us page, or it could be something in the middle of your product page. It doesn't know. So by all means, fill this out a little bit. Google Analytics, set it up early. It's a free account. It gives you a code to put in here. Collect that free data early. Even if you don't know what to do with it, at least start collecting that data early on. At least start gathering it. We can help you sort it out later on. If a year down the road, 6 months down the road, you want to start diving into data and analytics, at least you have it to work with. Collect data early and collect it often. Settings. And this is the last step before we really want to launch. A couple things here. So the general tab, that's just where your basic information is. Your email address that customers would email you on, your business address, phone number, all these kind of things. Payment providers. We want to set up your payment providers so that you get paid. Also, this is where you determine, are you going to accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Venmo, Samsung Pay, Apple Pay, all those kinds of things. My advice is to accept as many payment providers as possible. They're free, doesn't cost you anything. Make it as convenient for the customer as possible. Statistics show that businesses that only accept PayPal seem kind of sketchy. So, but please consider accepting like Visa, MasterCard, those kinds of things. You do have to connect your bank account to it. So that's how you get paid. It does require a little bit of a process to do so. So that takes probably 2 days or so to connect all that. Checkout, not a whole lot to do down here. Shipping is the other thing. And shipping is another great thing to book a one-on-one for, because it can be a little bit complex unless you're just shipping everything that's kind of a one size fits all and it goes into a nice envelope and all of that. You can choose UPS, you can choose USPS, you can choose DHL. You can use a combination of all three. You can create shipping profiles individual for different products. There's a ton of different options. It can be as complex or as simple as you like. It really depends on how involved you want to be and how many different sizes and weights and things your shipping is. But you definitely want to think about whether you want to do free shipping or flat rate shipping or weight-based shipping, or if you're just going to pass on the shipping cost to the customer and let them pay the shipping cost. Whatever that strategy is, we can definitely help. Taxes already done for you. It's based on your zip code. So when you set up that free trial and you set up that store, you put in your zip code, it's going to automatically configure your taxes based on that zip code you used for your local, city, state, county, federal taxes. Not much you have to do there. Only other thing to really think about in here would be legal. It sounds ominous, but with this legal is really, there's privacy policy, terms of service, and a return policy that are pre-drafted by our legal team for you. All you have to do is populate them. You can edit them if you want to, and then connect them to your menu. So you don't have to worry about trying to write up a terms of service policy on your own and figuring out like, how do I do that? It's something that's legally binding. It's completely done for you, so you don't have to sweat it at all. But once those are done, once you've set up the payment provider and the shipping, you are 100% ready to go. This whole time, customers have been seeing this, which is customizable, but they've been able to put in their email address, get a little information about you, click on your Facebook page or whatever, but haven't really been able to see your site or anything. Once you're ready to launch, I really wish this was more ceremonial. I wish there was like balloons and fireworks, something exciting, but there's not, sadly. You click the disable password, and once that's done, your store is live. The whole world can shop. It's there. It's ready to go. There's nothing else to it, really. Like I said, I wish it was a little more exciting than that, but you click disable password and that's it. It's live and ready to go. Realistically, if you have no experience or very little experience and you had a full 8 hours to do it, yeah, you could do it. Sure. Most people spend probably 2 weeks on their own working through building a site with or without maybe, watching some videos or attending a webinar or something like that. Some people will spend 6 months and kind of work on it, on Saturdays for an hour here and an hour there, each to their own. But realistically, if you had a solid 5 or 6 hours, you could have a pretty basic site like we had from scratch with nothing graded, depending on the products and what you had in terms of branding in place. Any questions for anyone? Anything else you want to talk about or go back through? Like turn this thing back on and change this back over and flip this back off and do all that?
No, that was a lot of information for sure. There were parts of it that seemed so easy. So that was nice to see you walk through it and to know that there are also those one-on-one sessions that you could do to, like if you want to dig deeper into some of those areas.
You can also build a store in a one-on-one. We definitely have people who come every week with a one-on-one, and this week I want to upload my products. And next week they do a one-on-one and I want to create my About Us page. And the week after the one-on-one, I want to do my homepage. Like, yeah, that's cool. We can do it together.
Is there like an average time when you're working with people? What's the average time that it takes to get something started? Not like really in depth, but just to get it going.
In terms of getting, you mean sales and things, or you mean just actually getting a website built?
Yeah, getting it built and, where it's at a point where you can have transactions.
It really depends on a person, and it depends a little bit on the brand and the business model. If you were doing like a drop ship or print on demand store where you didn't have to worry about your own product photography, if you didn't have to necessarily worry about sourcing products and getting products and all shipping and all that kind of stuff, it's a little faster, of course. But the actual build part of it, probably depending on the number of products, 6 to 8 hours of work. So if you spread that out, whether it's at one time, probably most people don't have 6 or 8 hours nonstop to sit down and just work on that. So they work on an hour here, 30 minutes here. Like I said, probably, if someone gave themselves 2 weeks and we're going to work on it a little bit each evening, or, a couple hours on the weekends and an hour or two here and there, a couple of weeks seems to be a pretty reasonable amount of time for people.
All right. Well, those were just some of the comments and questions that I had, but thank you, Chris. This was
Sure.
very interesting. Every time I'm learning something more.
Yeah, my pleasure. Happy to do it.
Is there, Chris, is there some more verbiage or more information about this particular presentation that I could use when I'm trying to promote more views on our YouTube channel?
Yeah, in terms of, you mean steps with building a store, or you mean copy
Well,
around?
just things that maybe will intrigue somebody to want to go out and benefit themselves by watching it, because I think maybe there's, from us having the video to get to the right person, maybe there's some other verbiage or some other tactics we can say to intrigue them to want to go and watch it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send along some copy via email that we can use on that. Absolutely. There's also, I'll drop it here in the chat as well, put in the email as well. There's also a great blog that kind of walks you step by step, kind of through the same process as well. So some people like to print it out and have that kind of laying next to them as almost like a guide or a cheat sheet as well. There's tons of resources. There's tons of YouTube videos and, stuff out there like that as well. People use. Everyone's a little different. Some people do like to just, I'm going to build my work from my homepage and kind of work backwards and work at a section and do it that way. Each to their own, whatever works for them.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap up today's session and we'll see you next Tuesday, same time.
Sounds good. Thank you much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.